Unclip that. Oh, it got my leg here. Oh my God, it got my leg here. Howdy, my name's Hugo, and today we're gonna be talking about the Key coveralls. I've tested them out in the snow a couple of times. I have a list of pros and cons that you might be interested to hear. I think we're gonna figure out today whether they are the right product for you if you're in the market for some coveralls. These coveralls are perfect and very well made, but they're not for everyone. So stick around to the end where we talk about one thing about these coveralls that might be a deal breaker depending on how you use them. Today we're gonna be talking about features, materials, price, fit, measurements, my experience with them, pros and cons, and who they're for and who they're not for. These coveralls are made by Key. Usually I'm wearing Carhartt. In fact, 90% of my whole closet is Carhartt, but these coveralls are made by Key. Key is a very strong company. Shopping for workwear here in Midwestern stores, I'm not new to Key. You'll always see a man wearing Key coveralls. The railway hickory Key overalls are really popular where I live. Founded in 1908, so they've been making workwear for quite a bit. They focus on heritage, well-made clothes for workwear, rather than being a fashion-forward company. They're based in Fort Scott, Kansas. They're a little bit smaller than Carhartt. They're less known globally. However, they're still a very good company, and according to my experience with their coveralls, they make really good products. I know Scott over at Essential Craftsman is a big fan of Key. For some reason, he did write off Carhartt forever, even though he was a huge fan himself. And these days, he's a big fan of Key workwear. In the last couple months, especially last couple weeks, the weather here where I live has been extremely cold. I think last week we had 3 or 4 consecutive days where the mornings were -8, -7, -4. So those were the days where I was using these coveralls the most. I walk to work even in that weather. However, using these coveralls, I had no issue getting to work. I was actually cozy and comfy throughout the whole walk, and we were in the negatives. So you know what they say, there's no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. I think we're like at 20 degrees right now. I'm not wearing any pants. I'm not wearing any sweater. The only thing I have on is underwear, a t-shirt. In 20 degrees, that's completely fine. I would argue that I don't even need this beanie, but that's only because last week it was -8. So in comparison, it's fine. All right. Yes, sir. Last time I wore this, like I said, it was like -8. And for that, I did wear my wool scarf. But for today, the point of the video is to see how I would wear it in 20 degrees. And this is completely fine. My neck is a little cold, but this collar comes in clutch for that. The only place I feel any cold is my face. But if you're active enough, you know, that should heat up and you should be fine. But yeah, one thing I did notice about this coat is that the collar is extremely high. It really comes in clutch when the wind's hitting. Because like right now, my neck is fine. Other things about it is that from the crotch to the shoulders, it's kind of tight. So when I do this, maybe I don't show you that part, but when I do that, it's really good riding up. Not really, but it is. Like if I were using this for a job where I'm constantly reaching up, I think I would have to get a different suit. Like if I'm constantly doing that, maybe it'll stretch, but it's cutting up Main Street every time I do that. I really like these slanted pockets. When you're out here in the cold, they're not very effective because they're not big enough. Also, if you have gloves on, I could see these being very difficult to open and close. But the pockets, the back pockets, there's no zips or anything to catch them. They're just open with a small flap. I really like that they did that because like I have my phone and I have my keys, and if I'm working or if I'm doing anything, I can just flap up, slide, flap up, slide, and then I don't have to worry about snow getting in there or anything like that because the flap. So I've actually never seen a garment that has that, and I really like that. But yeah, let me show you real quick. We're out here. Unclip that. Oh, it got my leg here. Oh my God, it got my leg here. Okay, but as you can see, pardon my beautiful leg. I'm out here with I'm out here with nothing but this on, and here is just a t-shirt. And I'm fine. The inseam is 29 inches. The opening on the leg is 8.5 inches. The zipper goes up the leg and stops at 27 inches. From crotch to shoulder, we're looking at about 35 inches. The waistline is probably 22 inches, which equals out to a 44. Pretty wide. So there's plenty of room to layer. The sleeve to the armpit is about 19 inches, and shoulder to the waist is, to the band on the waist is 24 inches. In case you're thinking about cropping them into a jacket, please stop doing that and selling them on Depop. Nobody wants that. We're ruining some beautiful pieces. So these bad boys retail for $114. That price might go up or down depending on where or when you're watching this video. For reference, I weigh 174 pounds. I'm 5'10". I usually wear an inseam of about 30, and in my waist, I usually wear 34 or 33. For washing and drying these, they are made out of 100% duck cotton. And from my experience with 100% 12-ounce duck cotton, that stuff shrinks pretty good. And when it comes to washing them, it's going to shrink if you're going to be using hot water. And then, of course, drying them in high heat is going to cause even more shrinking. These coveralls have gussets, not only in the back, which I really like. They also have gussets throughout the sleeves. And that makes it so that you can get more mobility out of them. You know, if you're gonna be shoveling, if you're gonna be reaching up, if you're gonna be throwing things around and you're gonna be really active in them, you're not limited to motion the way some basic jackets and basic coveralls are at that price point. So I think that's a really good thing about these coveralls, that at that price point, only 114, and you're still getting gussets. It's more difficult for the company to make. So usually when they have features like gussets, even just the back one, they like to jack up the price. But here you have back gussets and sleeve gussets, and it's still at a really affordable price. So that's one strong pro about this product. It also features double knees. And if you know workwear, if you use workwear, you know that that's a really popular and essential part of pants or coveralls or overalls. It gives you 2 layers of knees that if you wear out the first layer, you still have the underneath. So they're still usable for many, many years. It gives you a couple of extra years of usage. And not only that, it also has the little space at the bottom of the double knees for you to do the double knee inserts. You could buy any brand really, but Carhartt, I'm sure Key has them, but you can get the gel inserts or pads and you can kind of roll them in there and you can have padded knees for workers who are on their knees a lot, like installing flooring or painting and stuff like that. So it's got pockets here on the front. It's got 2 zippered pockets. It's got the front pockets and then an opening to get into your jean pockets here. It's got the carpenter pockets, the little one here and the bigger, taller one here if you use that for tools. On the other side, you have just a small pocket, but then you also have your hammer loop. So here's the bad thing about them. If you're somebody who is dependent or very used to your overalls and the type of pockets that your overalls have here, if you're somebody who keeps pencils, tape measures, any tool really that you have here, and you're used to quick in and out, you might not be able to transition over to this piece very well. Because you do have 2 pockets here, but they're so small that I can't even get my hands all the way in there without scratching my hands to heavens because of the zipper. And on top of that, the handles for the zipper are really small. You know, if you're going to be using this, it's because it's really cold. And you'll likely have, whether it's thin or thick gloves, I don't see these zippers being very easy to open and close. That's my biggest concern with them. If you don't care about that, if you're not used to overall pockets, then this is not an issue. But if you're consistently, subconsciously reaching for your tools here, that might get in your way. If that's not an issue, feel free to pull the trigger on these bad boys. If you're somebody who just uses your tools on your back pocket, or if you have a tool belt, or if you're okay with just these, then there is absolutely no problem with these. The only thing that I would highly suggest is for you to take in consideration my measurements and relate them over to you. I would look over what's the best sizing. As long as you nail sizing, then these are going to be great. So yeah, that's my experience with these coveralls and my review on them and how I feel about them. If you own these coveralls, feel free to comment down below and tell me your experience with them. I'd love to find out how they work for you in your day-to-day. So I think overall, these coveralls are a wonderful product. I think they're well made. They have tons of features. They're built well. They're made well. I think they're gonna last a very long time. If the front pockets don't matter to you and your tools are on a tool belt, or if you use your back pockets, I think you won't regret pulling the trigger on these. So yeah, man, that wraps up the video. If you like this video, feel free to subscribe so that you don't miss the next video. This next video coming up is gonna be a really good one. I think a lot of people have been asking me to make this next video. I'm really excited to make it. It's gonna be a little more difficult to make, more time consuming, but I think it's gonna come out really well. I think if you like this one, you'll definitely like the next one. We'll see you guys next time.